Raw and Nerdy.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Raw and Nerdy. This is episode number 53. I am Joe the Wigit, and we are missing one host tonight because he decided to raid in an old, outdated video game instead of hang out with his homies and record. I'm joined.
That part is that old and outdated video game gets more support than some other game.
That's very, very true. I am joined by that sexy voice you just heard, Rook.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 53 of Let's Just Wing It.
Yeah, pretty much. Funny thing is that we opened up, it was a short notice thing, but we decided, hey, let's open up the show to our listeners. If they want to come in, hang out, let's talk nerdy with us. And I don't think people got the memo.
Did we actually post it in the chat?
I did, yeah. About 3 hours ago. I know it's short notice and all, but yeah, people come in.
It was really short notice. We tend to do that a lot instead of planning these things out.
Yeah, it happens. I figured, hey, it's just the two of us. Let's wing it and have some fun. So that's what we're going to do.
Oh, yeah. Probably have a lot of Star Trek in here, but we'll find out.
Yeah, that tends to happen when it's just you and I. Like, I am really, really excited for the new brain fart.
The new brain fart, huh?
Yep, that one. That ever elusive and ever glaring brain fart that plagues me when I'm recording.
I'm excited for the new Star Trek movie that's coming out because the director wants to make it what Enterprise was supposed to be.
I didn't even hear about a new Star Trek movie.
It's in the works. It's supposed to be about the founding of the Federation.
Ooh, kind of like that new show they're coming out with. It's like the early days of the Academy.
Oh yeah, Star Trek Academy.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I was talking about Strange New Worlds, season 3.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that one.
I'm really, really tempted to go start rewatching season 1 and 2 to refresh my brains. It's been, what, a year and a half?
Mm-hmm. Been a while.
And it's by far one of my favorite shows on TV. And by far my favorite Star Trek of all time. But you guys who've listened to the show heard that constantly. Still trying to get my son to watch that show because he doesn't really care for Star Trek, which is the only disappointment I have in my son. Who's listening to this episode probably yelling at me right now.
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. It's funny because he listens to it at work in the kitchen when he's closing, because he's a chef. He's a closing chef. And when he's closing down the kitchen, he'll put on the show. And I know every time he does this because I will get a flood of text messages from him. Just random statements that it takes me half a minute to realize what he's talking about. Oh, right. That's what we talked about on the show last week. He always has something to say about what we talk about, which is great.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, my son's super nerdy like me. He comes by it honestly. He's a big D&D fan, a big fan of animes, and he really wants to come on the show and talk to you in particular, Rook, about animes and stuff like that.
Yeah, we haven't talked a lot about anime on this show because
I'm not a big anime fan.
You're not a big anime fan, and neither is
Archon.
Yeah, he watches it, but he's not a huge fan.
That's true. I've watched a few. I was watching another one recently, influenced by, someone else, and I've been, speaking about nerdy things, I was looking at it. I got my 2 metal dice that I got from WonderCon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been rolling them every day, and I'm noticing holes in my paper I roll it on. Because this gold one is super spiky, so.
Yeah.
And they're heavy.
Yeah, they are. The ones we got at WonderCon are not light. I mean, I got a set that's light, but it's also epoxy. These ones that we're rolling are metal, and they're not light at all.
Yeah. That gold set we got from that egg was so nice. Rook cheated it and got me it.
Well,
I picked a good one for you, too, so.
I happened to see which one he was looking at when they put it down, and I told Wigit to pick that one.
Gold and metal, which is awesome. And the other one I got was just a spiky D20 that I got a random out of, and it was really, really nice. Another steel dice. But today I rolled it, said, ask the dice, how's my day going to be? It rolled a 20 and a 19.
Nice.
I was expecting something miraculous to happen. But no, all I did today was, other than 9 holes of golf, which I was absolutely terrible at today. I could not figure out how to swing a club all of a sudden. That's the thing about golf. You can get really good. I'm a pretty good golfer. Nowhere near pro, but better than average. I score pretty low. 80s. Low 80s, which is great. But today, 9 holes, I shot a 47.
So you can't really be mad at yourself because, yeah, that would, if you match that on your back nine, it would be in the 90s, but you don't play golf every day like pros do.
I don't ever practice either, which I should. I really should because my driver drives me nuts, and I kept blading the ball in every swing. It was just bad. But I'm playing another nine tomorrow because we split it in 2 days. I'm gonna hopefully do better, which is actually you guys by the time you hear this will be the day before.
Mm.
Since
hmm
we're on the topic, how was your week?
My week was all right. It was work, some more work. Oh, and guess what? More work.
I was gonna say YouTube.
Yeah, a lot of YouTube because honestly, I don't do a lot. With the shift I'm working, I get home, I go to bed around 2 a.m. after, depending upon the day, after I get back from the gym. Then
I'm
on
super proud of this guy. He's getting into the workout trend. High five.
only because I was told I'm pre-diabetic, so I need to.
Everyone's pre-diabetic, buddy.
No, mine is literally the diabetic line, and my numbers are just, I mean, literally 1 point under it. So I got to get back into working out and get at least getting into shape. I'm doing a weightlift regimen right now, but I'm going to switch back over to a calisthenics regimen here in a week or two and then combine the two. But yeah, because I don't have a lot of time when I wake up in the morning. I get up at around 10 o'clock in the morning, and that's with an alarm. And then I leave for work around 12:30. There's not a lot of time in my day during the week to do anything.
Yeah, he works really late. Have you ever thought about maybe going to the gym, like a 24-hour gym after work?
I go after work.
Okay.
That's why I said on days I work out, I go a little bit later than 2 to bed.
Fair enough.
Yeah, because it's easier for me to go after work than to get up and go before work, and I'm not sure why.
It was for me for the longest time too when I used to go 3 days a week. Now that I've been getting up early every morning at 5:30, which is 2 hours before I even start, it's been better for me. Because I heard and read that you get better muscle retention if you work out in the evenings than you do in the morning.
hmm
But in the morning, it actually gets the adrenaline going, gets the workout high, and makes you more awake and alert. So it's worked for me. I've been doing really good. 191 pounds still. Cannot break out of 190, but I'm lighter than I've been since my 30s, early 30s.
Yeah,
And
that's
a lot
good
more
though.
muscle.
So I know I'm gaining muscle because my stomach has gotten a little bit bigger from all the ab workouts I've been doing. So that's a plus.
That's really good. I've been doing abs every day because it's the
I
one
don't do
muscle.
abs. I don't do as one muscle group. I won't do every day. Oh, I won't do any muscle group every day because, yeah.
I do crunches in between every set, like I've talked about before, to get that heart rate going. Yeah, I think 3 days ago, I was in the gym and I lifted my shirt up to wipe something off my face, and a lady walks by and goes, "Nice 4-pack." I looked at the mirror like, "Hey, look, there is one." I'm 2 beers short, but we're getting there.
Now, I actually do squats in between my workout sets. And then I actually use, at Planet Fitness, I use their crunch machine and add extra weight to the crunch.
Nice.
So, yeah, my abs hated me last week.
That
But right now, I'm on a whole body split. So every other day, 3 times a week, I'm working out every muscle group I have.
that's awesome.
Which was, I did not do it smart going into it because I ended up working out. But at the same time, I hurt myself.
Oh.
I overworked my muscles, and it did not like the fact that I went full maximum exhaustive weight right off the bat instead of working back into it.
Yeah.
But the next day I went, cleared up, my body was fine.
You're going to be sore, and it's going to be
Oh, yeah.
a tough adjustment for a few weeks, but you'll be just like what I am now. Like, if I don't go to the gym, I don't feel right. My day feels off.
Mm-hmm.
It's the necessary start, or in your case, the end of the day that's needed.
Yeah,
I
I
imagine,
need
though-
it at the end of the day.
Is it a little bit harder for you to go to sleep, though, after you work out?
No,
Okay, that's good.
because I get home and I shower in a hot shower and wind down.
Yeah, you kind of have to shower after going to the gym. It's a necessity.
Well, you don't have to. It's highly recommended unless
Yeah,
you want a
you're
really
gross
smelly
if you
bedroom.
Gross people!
No, but I take a really hot shower when I get home after the gym and just let it run over me and let it wind my body just wind down. And by the time I lay down, I'm out.
And that's good. Dude, like I said, I'm actually very proud of you. I'm really proud of Archon, too. You guys have been getting on it and hitting it good. I haven't talked to Archon in a few days, so I'm not sure if he's been doing it. I gotta get on his case. You didn't do an update this week. We have Raw Fitness, the Raw Gym Fitness channel in our Discord. If you haven't been in our Discord, it is by far the place to be. Discord.gg/Raw Podcasts. If you don't know what Discord is, Google it. You'll like it. I promise.
If you don't know what Discord is, ask your kids. They do.
Seeing as the vast majority of our listeners are in their 30s and 40s, yeah, that's a good assumption.
That's amazing how old our listener base is. You'd think we'd have a few more younger audience.
We have a few. Like, last demographics I looked at, we were 13 or 14% under the age of 30. So there's a few. The vast majority, though, is between 30 to 50. And we have a few.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think we're like 20% 50 plus.
Oh, yeah. So I've gotten back into Baldur's Gate. I've been playing Baldur's Gate, but I haven't played it much this last week. Got back into the Breath of Fire series.
Uh-oh.
I've been playing Breath of Fire 2 because apparently in my head I got 2 and 3 backwards.
Oops.
And so I've been playing Breath of Fire 2 today and having a fun time with it. It's old school, it's sprite based, all that 2D, all that wonderful jazz, but to me it's a fun game. I like those games.
They are. They have that classic RPG feel that I like a lot. I miss classic RPGs. I
wish, not that they would remake it, but I wish Capcom would re-release it with a port for PS5 so I can actually download it on my PS5. Because Breath of Fire 3 and 4 are PS1, and the only way you can play those is if you had a PSP or a PS Vita, or a PS1. And the game disc.
There's so many old games that I would absolutely adore to be not remade, but just redo all the graphics and port it in. I want updated graphics, the same combat, same story, same feel, everything. Just updated graphics. That we can play on new systems. Chrono Trigger is the very top of my list.
Here we go. Remake every game in Unreal 5 with that top-down view that we have.
It wouldn't be hard, honestly. Get a team of artists, because that's all you need is artists and one designer and a couple of programmers.
Really, yeah, it is all you need, because you're going to keep every combat and everything just turn-based and all that like it is already. You're just literally updating graphics.
And all you need is the designer to help facilitate some things, and then you got the programmers to update the code to work on the new systems, and that's just the base code, the base engine, so that's no big deal. That'd probably take them a week. And then you get all the artists in there and just revamp everything. Just take all the assets one by one, update them, and put them back in.
Now, what I would do is I would do it on all of these games that we're talking about. They don't have cutscenes. They have just story, communication and stuff, just an overhead view. I wish they would, if they did do a remaster, I wouldn't mind seeing cutscene style stuff. But I'm okay with a one-for-one remaster.
Oh, yeah. That's what I was hoping.
Not remake.
Yeah, a remaster. That's a big difference. Remaster, remake, and what's the third one that they throw out there? Can't think of it. But all three of those terms have a different meaning. But
Reboot.
Reboots are usually the worst.
Oh, sorry. It's remaster, remake, reimagining.
Okay, reimagining. That's not a term I haven't heard in a while. It was a different name for a while. Reimagining is don't bother with it.
I would actually say that in some cases, the Final Fantasy remake is more of a reimagining.
Yes, I would agree. Because when they originally came out and said remake, I was a little upset because I had a bad feeling they were going to screw with the story, which is what made Final Fantasy VII the most amazing game outside of Chrono Trigger.
Mm-hmm.
And the combat was one of my favorite things too, but then they completely changed the combat. It ruined for me. I could not do it after that.
That was the one thing. The biggest arguments I've heard was a lot of people just wanted them to do what we're talking about for Chrono Trigger and Breath of Fire. Pull the game back. You already got the game. Just redo the graphics. Leave everything else the same.
Exactly. That's all we want. The game was perfect as it was. Don't screw with it. Chrono Trigger is my favorite game of all time, and I would pee myself if they did an actual one-for-one on it. But if they come out and say, we're doing Chrono Trigger as a remake, I'm going to cry.
Breath of Fire 1, 2, 3, and 4 are my favorite of all time. Dragon Quarter doesn't exist.
Fair enough.
Because, it's what they did was they did what we thought, what we're talking about. They redid the game to a completely different style than the way all the previous games were.
Yeah. Do you remember Chrono Cross?
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, most people don't. It was technically this sequel to Chrono Trigger, and they completely destroyed it.
Oh, fun.
It was terrible.
Yeah, there's. I hate when they do things like that. But in this
Yeah.
case, with Breath of Fire, surprisingly, if you look at how a lot of people rank the games, they rank in order 3, 4, 2, 1, Dragon Quarter, which is 5.
Breath of Fire 3 was my favorite of the series. And I really,
It,
really
it,
enjoyed that game.
it was a good one. Uh, I wish Capcom would remake the games or make a new one, but because they got burned so bad on Dragon Quarter and the one they released in Japan for the MMO, they're afraid to. And
Yeah.
instead of just, I would actually, there's a company out there, I forgot the name of the studio, but there's a studio out there that's saying, hey, look, let us make the game. We'll make it. We'll pay for everything. We'll make it.
There you go. Yeah, I would. If I was a good artist, I would be like, hey, I'll remaster some of these.
Mm-hmm.
I think a single person could probably make an older strategy or RPG game about a year or two by themselves. There's thousands of assets, but oftentimes it's just updating them, so it wouldn't be that terrible.
Yeah.
I think the hardest part would be the character design.
It would be. Well, the good news is with a lot of these games, they had really cool artwork in the books, so you had an idea of how the character was already supposed to look.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true, actually. And the cutscenes, most of them you really don't need to do too much to. Just update them on the engine will take care of it. So it wouldn't be that hard of a thing. Another 2 games I would love to see done like that are the 2 Secrets. Secret of Evermore and Secret of Mana.
I don't think I've played Secret of Mana once or twice, but I've never played the other one.
Evermore was fantastic. It wasn't a classic RPG in combat. It was a live action one. It was the only live action combat that I had in RPG that I loved how it worked. And it was just a guy getting caught in between his time loop with his dog. And your dog was your secondary character. You leveled him up, and every time you shifted into different time zones, your dog changed with the time. It was great. The game was freaking fantastic.
They put some interest. See, back in the day, though, because of the less intensive work it took to do the graphics, you could have cool stuff like that. Nowadays, you don't see those kinds of things.
It's too much work.
And then again, you don't see a lot of unique stories these days.
Again, well, that's the big thing is because games now cost as much as movies to make. Unlike back in the day, you can hire a team of like 80 people and have a game out with under $100,000. Now it takes hundreds of millions. So most of these game companies don't want to roll the dice on a new IP.
A lot of times it's because you're doing voice acting. You're doing all of these things that really you don't need to do.
Well, it also, the new graphics take an art team 10 times the size it used to.
True. But just taking a game like we're talking about and make it in the style that we're talking about and not doing all of these voice acting and paying voice actors, not going out of the way to make these cool cutscenes and just leaving everything as it is in game. You're just updating the graphics. Make a game where you keep it in the style of JRPG and you actually just make it with modern graphics.
Yeah, that you can play on modern PCs or consoles. I mean, the PC Master Race is gaining a lot of popularity, and it's one of the easiest ones to program for.
Oh yeah, and the weirdest thing is a lot of these companies don't want to do ports for PC or these newer systems, and you want to get these IPs out there so people can actually really be interested in them. Port them. A lot of people will download games out of boredom and then play them and then actually like them.
Yeah, and you got a huge nostalgia factor from people our age who are the ones that are paying for things. And I know my son would definitely play Chrono Trigger redone. He's never played it before, and I'm sure he would. He loves JRPGs, so.
Oh yeah.
But he also likes the new ones. Not my cup of tea. But we know that already.
Not mine. Some of the new ones are at best.
I did play some Baldur's Gate 3 this week, or over the last 2 weeks. We didn't record last week. Sorry about that. Things got in the way, and we just couldn't do it. Archon lost internet. Yeah, he lost Archon all day, so we couldn't do it. And Rook had to work. And I didn't feel like you guys would want to listen to a solo widget show. So it was X-Nade. But what I did do last night, though, is I did record Chapter 5 of Emperor of Continua. And I posted it on this feed. So if you guys have been following that at all, you can check that out. And my hour and a half of recording and editing to get that done because I couldn't get the lines right. Let me see, what else? Yeah, I re-downloaded and installed GOG. I mentioned that on the last episode, GOG.com, to play the older games for PC that they've reported into the new Windows. And I already had Settlers 3 and Settlers 4 bought, and they're like $5 a piece. If you like strategy games, even if you don't, try those 2 games out. They are a flippin' blast. I couldn't get Settlers 3 to run, though. Downloaded it, installed it, but it doesn't want to run, so I got to figure out why. Settlers 4 ran perfect, and it's definitely one to check out because it's almost as good as Settlers 3. Been loving it. Did the Roman campaign again and kicked some butt. One of the rounds took me 5 hours.
Jesus, dude.
I had Romans and the Mayan. No, not the Romans, but the Settlers 4 was Romans, Mayan, and Vikings. So I had Vikings and the Mayans that were on my surrounding me, and eventually I had to pick the weakest one, which was the Vikings, take them out, and then I could take out the Mayan. It took forever.
Oh, fun. See, the problem with those games is they just take so long when you're playing those.
And there's no hurry up button in Settlers. So you have to wait for your guys to go and build things as you command. But I remembered that I can actually create more builders and more diggers because they only start with 5 and 5. So I was doing this huge, massive society with only 5 builders. I was wondering why it was taking so long. Those games are a blast. I've really enjoyed playing them again. And then I installed Diablo 4, Archon's Fault, going off about the new expansion, which is getting some crappy reviews. They're saying it's the last leg of Diablo 4 and it's done for. I didn't buy the expansion. I just installed it and I started a new rogue and I got into level 20 or something like that. And still, I'm very meh about that game.
I personally, as a lot of people know, I've played Diablo. It's just not my cup of tea. It's not one that keeps my interest very long. So
there are some things about Diablo that is a lot of fun. Diablo 3 was a blast. Probably the best one they made. Once they remastered it and redid it. I was hoping they do the same for Diablo 4 and just redo it. There's a lot of elements of that game that were terrible.
But they didn't.
They didn't. They fixed some things. They changed some things around so it's not bad. I don't have to do that same grind every season. But I'm only a couple levels in, so I'm gonna play it for a little bit longer to give it an honest fair shake. Couldn't really afford to buy the expansion right now, so I didn't bother with that. I wanted to see if the game was worth it before I dropped $40 on it.
Makes sense.
Not sure if it is yet. I did watch the first episode of Rings of Power Season 2. Well, most of it. I fell asleep halfway through.
So you, Archon, and my brother keep telling me I need to go watch Rings of Power.
Yes. Yes, you do. I mean, the first episode was great. I didn't fall asleep because of the episode. I was just really tired. So I'm going to rewatch it later, at least halfway through, and get back into it.
What, you didn't watch the show through osmosis?
I probably could have. I take a Benadryl at night because my allergies are terrible. Like, you can hear my voice breaking up a lot right now. It's because of my allergies. And Benadryl knocks me out, so I have to take it at night. But it's one of the better things for my allergies. But it doesn't last 24 hours. So normally I'll take a Claritin in the morning, but I ran out. So I'm suffering. And the fall is the worst time for my allergies. Talk about nerdy. Allergic to everything. Mostly ragweed, which grows and blooms in the fall. Mm-hmm. It kills me.
Part of the reason why I'm glad I'm here and not there now.
Yeah, you're lucky.
You know how nice it is to sit in my office and look at my desk and it looks just like it did when I moved in and I don't have to dust every day?
That is nice. So, something that came up I haven't told you yet, but the house I'm in has to be sold. And it has to be sold very soon. I'm not going to get into that on the air, but so I have to move very soon. So I'm going to get my own place again, but I don't have the money for the deposit. So I got to figure that out. And I don't want to get locked in a 1-year lease because I have plans to move. Yeah,
that's the problem with most rentals is the 1-year lease. Or if you do a month to month, it's going to be very expensive.
And it's crazy how expensive apartments have gotten in California.
Now, if my house was repaired and I knew you weren't going to be in it for like 1 or 2 months, I would rent out the house to you for the cost of one of the rooms. That way you could actually make sure people don't break into my house. But unfortunately, it's not repaired yet.
Yeah, I probably would do that.
Insurance is taking forever to get back to me.
That happens. Insurance does not like to be on the money with that kind of stuff.
Especially in California.
So I was looking for an apartment. And before I moved in to help my dad out, I live with my dad right now because he had 4 surgeries last year and he needed help. He's all better now, doing great, so it's time for me to move anyway. And before I moved, I had a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment in Bakersfield, and I paid $960 a month for it. Mm-hmm. Now that same apartment is 1,700.
Yeah, they're expensive.
In 2 years, it almost doubled in price, which is dumb. And that's because of some laws that California is trying to fix now, but we'll see what happens. We'll see. And my job has not gone up in my pay, so it hasn't balanced itself out.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I got a 512 gigabit NVMe for dirt cheap, and I
Why
installed
did
it on
you
my
buy
computer
so small?
because it was almost free.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I needed extra space. I have a 2 gig in there, and I found out when I installed this, because my computer kept defaulting the NVMe to boot, which is a blank drive, so it kept on blue screening, that my current hard drive is not an NVMe like I thought. It's a hybrid. So I had to change boot sequence in the BIOS. No big deal, but that kind of disappointed me. It's still fast, but not as fast as an M.2. But surprisingly, my computer still boots within 5 to 10 seconds when I hit power, so it's still good.
Mine boots fairly quickly still, but I do need to upgrade my graphics card and my processor. My processor is okay for now, but my graphics card definitely needs to be upgraded.
You know something that maybe we could talk about that I just thought about? Because you and I both watch a lot of YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
What about we talk about our favorite channels that we watch?
Okay, I'm down for that.
Yeah, I just pulled up YouTube. Let's give it a shot.
Because people are about to see just how all over the place I am with my...
You and me both, homie. Like, one of the people I've been watching a lot of lately, because he's been fascinating the crap out of me, is Dr. Mike.
Who's Dr. Mike?
He's a family physician that's been practicing for about 10 years, 7 to 10 years now. And he goes through and he'll critique like shows and their medical drama, the medical drama, stuff like that. To give you real evidence of it. Yeah, he's great. He's funny. Great guy. So it's been a blast watching him. His React videos are funny. And I've been watching, was it People versus Food. So on the React channel.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's a lot of fun to watch that. And there's this golf channel called Good that I watch a lot of. And they're kids that make me super jealous and make me feel like a terrible golfer. By kids, I mean they're 20, early 20 or mid 20s, like early 30s. Amazing golfers. They're not pro, but they'll say, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna hit this ball 212 yards. Let me pull out a 7-iron," and all I do is give them a middle finger. I can hit my 7-iron about 150. But they're a lot of fun to watch. They do this wheel of not ideal sometimes, where they'll spin a wheel and it'll tell them like what club they have to use and stuff like that. Oh, it's fantastic.
Must use a driver on a par 3.
Yep, they've done that. And that
a
was
driver on a par 3?
Chip shot on a par 4. They got a driver once. And there's this one where they'll do like random not golf club challenge, where they'll bring out like baseball bats, tennis racket, and they spin to see what shot they have to use on each different item.
I've seen other golf channels do some sort of thing like that where they'll use everything not a golf club.
Yeah, Good started that. I started watching them before they became good years ago, and they're a lot of fun to watch. Nice. And there's one that you and I we have a few that we both watch a lot. Fat Electrician.
Of course.
That guy's amazing. You actually turned me on to him.
Yeah, the USS Texas is what got me turned on to him.
Slow-mo guys. You watch them, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. And there's
there's another one that you should check out called Ballistic High Speed. They're gun guys, but they use high-speed cameras.
Oh, yeah. I started watching them like 4 weeks ago. I subscribed to them. Yeah. No, they're great. I've watched every one of their videos. I'm just waiting for the new ones now.
Mm-hmm. We also watch, what's his name? Demolition Ranch together.
Oh, yes. Demo Ranch.
I also started watching Brandon Herrera.
Yeah, he's interesting. I like watching his Darwin Award videos.
Yes. and his memes one.
Yeah, that one's good too. The other gun one I watch is Deflator Mouse. He's a small channel based out of California, but they test shotgun slugs that their fans make.
If I want to watch if I want to watch a channel where it's nothing but absolute destruction, I'll watch what's his name?
Kentucky Ballistics?
Yeah, Kentucky Ballistics.
Yeah, me and Rook are gun people with our background. Mm-hmm. Yeah, People versus Food was one of them. And I have a lot that I like to watch for basically knowledge.
Yeah.
Vertasium, Veritasium is really good for that. Nile Red, he's an alchemist, a very, very good alchemist too. He makes some interesting stuff, and I've learned way more about alchemy than I ever did before until I started watching this kid. This kid's good. Smarter Every Day is really good. And Mark, he's another one. Mark Rober, he's an engineer. I'm an engineer, and it's fun to watch him.
Nice.
What some do you watch, man?
Oh, well, I watch Mojo because I like their top their top however countdown list.
Watch Mojo.
WatchMojo.com. Like right now they have, let's go videos. Top 20 greatest Dragon Ball characters, top 50 defining movies of the last 50 years, stuff
I
like
just
that.
pulled it up. I've seen Mojo before. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They also have Mojo Game, but I also watch, because this is the first time I've ever seen, I also watch some sports stuff. So Trevor Bauer, everybody knows that what knows baseball knows him because he's the Mickey Mouse Cy Young Award winner from the shortened season during the lockdown. He actually is currently playing, or currently played this past year for the Mexican League Baseball. And I liked it because he would actually go through and break down each of his games, tell you what he was thinking in these situations and whatnot. So I actually started following him because that's actually really cool to watch. I also watch a couple of car channels like Donut and Speed.
I'm not a car guy, so that's.
Yeah, that's different. I also like real mechanic stuff because I watch. Sometimes they talk about all sorts of different things on whether or not the mechanics would actually drive those vehicles or not. We talked about the gun tubers we both follow. Fat Electrician, for anybody who wants history
Yes,
on
the guy is
World
a
War
great
II
historian.
or other or different soldiers and stuff like that. The Fat Electrician is awesome.
And you want to laugh a whole lot? Watch him.
Yep.
I was dying on his last video.
If you really want to get it started, I recommend the USS Texas. The history of the USS Texas with him because talks about gangster leading a ship.
Yeah. He used to do these like little 5-minute shorts.
They were 3-minute shorts because they were TikTok videos. He started off on TikTok.
Yeah. Then he went to YouTube and he started making these hour-long shows that are, as soon as they come on, he's one of the few that as soon as that I see his videos come up, I click on it.
Yeah, because it's very detailed. He does a lot of research before he puts his videos up, and it's just awesome to see the kind of people that exist amongst us throughout the years. I'll also watch Mr. Who's the Boss because I love his tech demos and the stuff he actually talks about. So I also do science channels. Like there's a science communicator called Kyle Hill. I like watching him. And believe it or not, I actually follow the Motor Oil Geek because watching him break down how oil works, how the different components in oil works, he gets sciencey about oil.
Interesting.
I have a lot of other ones like Adam Savage.
Yeah.
Who doesn't have Adam Savage?
I don't. But I still watch some of his videos.
Yeah.
Fell Army is one of my favorite ones I got a couple brainless watch channels. So Fell Army is one of the best for that.
There's a couple that I like that I don't follow or subscribe to, but one is Be Amazed. They have some pretty good stuff. And the other one lately has been Underworld. Their channel has like natural disasters and stuff, and they're ones that people have filmed from cameras or something, and they talk about those, and it's really cool. And then finally, one of my favorite channels is Police Pursuits.
Oh.
If you ever want to see how crazy the Arkansas State Patrol is, watch that.
No kidding. Viva La Dirt League. I've talked about it on the show before. Those guys crack me up. They do skits, mostly about gaming and stuff like that, and they are hilarious.
I do have a few gaming channels that I follow. The reason why I follow some of these gaming channels is because they give lore to games that I like. And there's one that gives lore to Star Trek. What is his name now? I can't remember it. Right now, it's Lore Reloaded. He actually has some good stuff. I also have a couple for overlanding because I'm into that. So I actually watch where some people go to do their overlanding and am planning to make some trips out to those areas.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm all over the place with if you were to look at my thing, I have stuff from Elite Dangerous, some random people I was bored. I followed Bud Light just because of the Real Men of Genius commercials.
I actually follow Karate Combat. I haven't watched it in a while, but it's like USC, but actual karate with different rules based for karate. I'm a master martial artist, so I love watching that stuff, but it still gets a little bit too MMA for me, but they don't go to the ground at all.
That's good.
Yeah, that's one thing I love about it. Weird History Of course, Imagine Dragons. I mean, big fan of their music. Let me see. There's another good ones I was watching too. Tech Zone. I think the name tells you what it's about. Studio C for a little bit of laughs. They're like Saturday Night Live, but better,
Oh yeah.
less political.
Everybody should be following Stephen He, especially
Never
if you
heard of
want,
him.
especially if you like emotional damage.
Oh, jeez.
He's
I'm
that
so
guy.
tired of that.
But
I
he,
follow How
he,
Ridiculous. Those guys are fun.
I don't think I've seen that one.
They do a lot of weird random stuff, like dropping this giant dart on vehicles and stuff, and they do a lot of funny things, a lot of good stuff. Like they did
I've
extreme frisbee golf down a ski mountain.
Nice. I actually follow the Umbilical Brothers. They're comedians. They're actually pretty funny.
Okay. You guys got a good taste of mine and Rook's little YouTube lists.
Yeah, we're all over the place.
We watch a lot of YouTube. It's one of my
Well,
it's my
it's the
favorite
greatest
TV
thing-
channel.
It's the greatest thing to put in the background when you just want to listen to something to distract you while you're doing something else.
I spent some time last week fancying up our NFL picks spreadsheet.
Oh, nice.
And I got it where I automated it. All I have to do is put in, if one of our teams wins or loses, put in a 1 on win or loss, and it updates everything.
It's about time. Took you long enough.
Actual percentage now, so when I put it in, it gives true percentage. I don't have to wait till the end of the week. Simple formula that I just couldn't get in my head first, and I finally dawned on me.
Nice.
Let's talk about some of this news. We're 43 minutes in, and we have the Hatfield in our chat. He's been quiet, so he's welcome to jump in and talk if he would like.
He's waiting for the McCoy to jump in.
Oh, right. Yeah, gotta have the McCoy.
Now, McCoy was always my pet. I would always play a hunter in games, and as the Hatfield, and then McCoy would be my pet.
That's great.
That's awesome. One of the classic feuds of all time.
Mm-hmm.
So you were so excited about this first news article. I really want to talk about this one.
All right. So everybody's seen, if you have done any kind of research on type 1 diabetes or anything like that, you have seen there's a lot of potential cures out there that are drug-based.
Mm-hmm.
But in China, they have actually done stem cell therapy using this woman's own stem cells. They redid the DNA to where it actually... Was it redoing the DNA? Well, they implanted new islets with her stem cells into her body. And her body started producing insulin again.
Really?
Now, type 1 diabetes, their bodies do not produce insulin
Exactly.
at all.
Yeah, that's the worst type.
Yeah, they're the ones that have to have the insulin machines plugged into them.
Or regularly, like 2 or 3 times a day shots, which I would hate to do that.
Mm-hmm. So what the procedure they used was they took a procedure that involves transplanting islets, clusters of cells from the pancreas, including insulin-producing beta cells from a donor to a patient. Well, instead of doing that, they got this woman's own stem cells to do that. So instead of needing a donor, they were able to work with her own body to get her own body to start producing insulin, which is amazing.
Freaking cool, actually.
Now, this is one person, and there's people that a lot of researchers saying we'd like to see this 5 years down the road to see how it's still working, and if it is still working, because then it's a viable option.
Yeah,
But
I love reporting about medical advances like this on this show,
Mm-hmm.
especially ones that can take care of some serious issues. Like we talked about a possible reality of a cancer cure about a couple months back. I need to check on that again.
So in June 2023, let's see, induce stem cells to, all right, so they took her stem cells and chemically induced the stem cells to generate 3D clusters of islets. They tested the safety and efficacy of the cells in mice and non-human primates. In June 2023, in an operation that lasted less than half an hour, they injected the equivalent of roughly 1.5 million islets into the woman's abdominal muscles, a new site for islet transplants. And most would go into the liver, but they wanted to be able to observe the cells, so they put it in her muscles.
Interesting.
Yeah, and 2.5 months after that, her body was producing enough insulin to live without needing top-ups. So that will be awesome. If 5 years down the road, she's still producing her own insulin, that'll be amazing.
That is really incredible.
Mm-hmm.
On the flip side of the medical stuff, though, a French COVID-19 doctor was barred for 2 years by the French Medical Board for promoting
Hydroxychloroquine.
That's something that was touted during the whole pandemic as a way to help fight COVID.
Mm-hmm.
But they're saying there's no science backing it up because they really haven't done too many studies on it. But he was promoting it to patients, and the French didn't like that, so they barred him for 2 years, even though his patients had shown significant improvement.
Now, I think if he would have done it as, hey, this is going to be a research thing, we're going to document how it's working on you, and not actually treat it as a cure, but as a testing for a treatment or cure for it, then I think they would have approached it a different way. But it sounds like he was just pushing it as this will cure you type situation.
Yeah, that kind of news is kind of irks me a little bit. It's because that he didn't get approval from the French medical board that they decided to bar him for 2 years.
Yeah, I don't like that. If you get a written statement from your patient saying, I know he has explained to me the possible side effects or consequences, and I am still willing to do this.
Yeah, I don't know French law. I don't know if that would even.
I know in the
protect
U.S., I think in the U.S. even that's a gray area. I don't know. Any doctors out there that want to chime in, be my guest?
Yeah, please do. I am by no way a medical professional.
I'm not even a lawyer, so if you're a lawyer that deals with doctors like this, let us know.
We have a couple of lawyers in our listener base. So Tesla revealed a cybercab recently, called a cybercab. It's a vehicle that seats two, has no steering wheel, has no pedals or controls of any kind other than a touchscreen in the middle so they can accept the fare and tell it where to go. And they can voice what they want to do, where they want to go, the address, and it will take them there. It's going to be coming out at $30,000, fully autonomous, and Elon was saying that it will eventually cost 20 cents a mile to take this cab. Once they get things rolling out, there's enough of them out there. Mm-hmm. Instead of what public transit right now for a bus ride for most cities is about $1 per mile.
I'm glad you said for most cities.
Yeah, it's not everywhere.
Because like Lancaster, there's a couple of places I've been to where transit's free.
See, that's a rarity.
That is a rarity these days. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Island County up in Washington, they're free for their island transit.
See, that's
my
cool.
My only thing about this whole situation, though, is this is a great idea and will definitely help protect our planet and whatnot. Until you look at the fact we're running out of places to find lithium.
And we don't have the grid infrastructure to support everyone having electric vehicles everywhere.
Especially in California.
Yeah, no, it would kill us. I'm not going to get political on that, but there's a law that...
No. It's not political. It's literally the grid in California cannot support...
Well, I'm saying there's a political reason why that's being pushed.
Yeah.
Because of a law they introduced that's never going to take. Because the deadline's coming up next year and never going to take.
Yeah, the wonderful mileage tax.
Mileage tax is helping to push it, but the law is that everyone has to have an electric vehicle by sometime 2025.
That's not feasible.
Nope.
Because we don't, until we figure out a way to make better electricity storage, we won't be able, we feasibly cannot go to full batteries because we don't have the technology to store large amounts of electricity on a very renewable resource.
I'd have a very hard time doing my job with electric vehicle, with how many miles I have to drive and the charge times.
Now, if they made a car that had 1,000 miles per charge.
Well, there's that new battery we talked about on the show a little while ago that's non-lithium, that has like 3 times the charge speed of lithium-ion batteries, and has a higher capacity and a longer lifespan. Doesn't degrade. Yeah. So that would be incredible.
How does it not degrade, though?
Because it doesn't have dissolvable materials.
Well,
degradable materials.
See, that's what I'm curious about. Because what helps create the electricity in a battery is the degradation of that material transfers electricity.
Different. So I'll have to go back to that article and read it because they kind of outline what it was, and it's very fascinating. And they're actually producing a lot of it now. It's in production. They're going to be rolling it out for cars first, and then they're going to be going to smaller versions of it for cell phones and things of that nature.
Well, cars are right now the ones that need it the most because it's $10,000 for a battery change in electric vehicles. Minimum.
I have a hybrid that needs its batteries redone, and I don't have the $9,000 to do it.
Yeah. Teslas are $20,000 for new batteries.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, I think the whole electric car thing's in its infancy and not where it needs to be to start creating these laws.
It is. I mean, it's a very good concept. It is. The proof of concept is there. What I would like to see is hydrogen fuel cell hybrid. But the infrastructure for hydrogen charging does not exist.
No.
We need It's the most abundant resource on this planet. When it combusts, it creates water. So it is a truly renewable resource. But
It's being
everybody
used in
hears,
rocket fuel.
everybody who hears about hydrogen as a fuel source, they go, the Hindenburg, the space shuttles. I'm like, you realize we drive a vehicle that's just as combustion worthy and produces more energy per combustion than a hydrogen does. And you don't see them blowing up everywhere.
No.
So for those who understand what I'm talking about, gas, the reason why it's hard to go from it's hard to find something that produces as much energy per combustion as gasoline does. Hydrogen can get close, and it's a renewable resource. But it's a lot of infrastructure to put it up around the world, the U.S. at least, and I don't know why we're not pursuing it.
Well, the U.S., we drive more than any other country because of how spread out everything is.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people that have never owned a car that live in Europe. They don't need to.
But then again, you can put the whole state of Texas over Europe.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what people always ask, like, why don't Americans travel outside of the country more? Well, because our one country is bigger than most of your guys' countries combined.
Our one state's bigger than most of your countries combined.
Yeah, you can spend your entire life traveling America and not see everything. I've been to every single state in this country. I've been to every major city in this country at least twice, and I still have not seen a lot. I would like to, though. I want to go to Yellowstone. That's one of the things I want to do.
Me too. The sad part is we both have lived, and you still do live 3 hours from Yellowstone. 3 or 4 hours.
No, Yellowstone I've been to. I'm sorry. Not Yellowstone. I've been to that 3 times. I love that place. No, it's the one in Midwest. I can't think of it.
Rushmore?
No, I've seen Rushmore. It's the big park, the volcanic one. Why am I brain farting? This is insane. It's like one of the most well-known.
Yellowstone, Crater Lake.
It is Yellowstone. Yosemite's the one that I live close to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got backwards. Okay.
Yeah, it was your bad.
Actually, no, Yellowstone's
Confusing
near
me.
Yosemite. Ain't it?
No, Yellowstone's in the Midwest. It's Wyoming area. It's in like the southwestern portion of Wyoming.
Yellowstone's the one that has that one little area that didn't have a jurisdiction for the longest.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Wyoming, Idaho, Montana. It's right there up in that corner.
It's like one of our biggest national parks, and I've never been there. It's only
It's also one of the biggest dormant volcanoes that will destroy the world if it ever erupts.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of threats that are happening. We reported on one of those threats recently, too. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing I want to cover before we call it a night is that a game designer decided to do his dream real-world treasure hunt. Jason Rohrer, he puts out a lot of different bizarre video games out there, small indie projects that have been pretty popular. So he started Project Skydrop. It's a real-world treasure hunt. It actually started September 19th. So it's been going for a little while, and the treasure has not been claimed yet. And what the treasure is, if you find it, it's a 24-karat gold, 10 troy ounce trophy, worth about $25,000 in current value. And I couldn't see where the beginning is. I guess there was a drop site that had the first clues to it. So, I mean, if you research it, real world treasure hunt, you'll find it.
That's something that recently Texas did something similar. The Texas baseball team, the Rangers, they actually made 25 bronze baseball statues. You could open it up with a little robot inside of it. And they placed them all around Dallas-Fort Worth in major significant areas of Dallas-Fort Worth.
That's not a new idea. That's been going around for a while. And there was one guy who hid a treasure. It was in the news for the longest time. Was finally found. It was worth several thousands of dollars. But that treasure hunt was not done very well because I think something like 7 or 8 people died in the process.
Oof.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, this was all over the place episode, just like all of our other episodes. We actually had a couple of decent discussion ones. What were they? The remakes, remasters thing.
Yep, YouTube.
The YouTube, and then finally got to our news.
Yeah, we haven't done that very much lately.
Yeah, we actually, me and you threw two topics in there.
Probably was gonna name this episode YouTube.
Why not?
Yeah.
YouTube Remastered.
Okay, winner. If you guys want to reach out to the show for business or news, or actually I'm going to let Hatfield, you want to say anything before we wrap it up?
No, just thank you guys. Thanks for, everything that you do and all the content that you put out. I do have one YouTube channel that I love. It is called Frankenstein's Lab, and it is these two African American stoners who comment on stand-up comedy, and it makes me just laugh my butt off all the time. So I appreciate you guys, and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, bud. If you guys want to check out if you guys want to email us for advertising, for any kind of business suggestions, things like that, podcastraw@gmail.com is this show's email. You can follow us on X, aka Twitter, @podcastraw. Our Facebook is Raw Podcast. Our Instagram.
Yes, you can follow us on Instagram too. I'm not just going to say our Instagram because that's just weird.
Why?
Raw Podcast 1.
Our Discord, the place to be, is discord.gg/Raw Podcasts. You can follow us individually as well. I am at The Wigit, THEWIGIT. There's no D in there. I am not an app.
Just remember, it's Wigit.
Yeah, I know. That's the way it's pronounced. But
hey, that was great watching them do the flight sim calling you Wigit the entire time.
Yeah. We're not going to go there. I don't like that. So it's at The Wigit everywhere. And if you can't find it, search it. My books are on Amazon. Emperor of Continua. I forgot the second.
You forgot your own novel.
Guardian of Kame, the Draman Saga. I have been working heavily on the third book. So it's going to be coming out hopefully next year. And yeah, you can search The Wigit on Google. You'll find that there too.
Now, you can find me almost everywhere as some variation of Tomcat213. You can also find me on Steam and Reddit and what's the other one? There was one other location I can't remember now. As Rook213. Oh, yeah, X.
Yeah, you got to get everything figured out to where you get everything the same. It's just easier.
I've tried making everything Tomcat213 or Rook213, but there's always somebody that has that already.
Yeah, I'm glad I got the widget in early because I've had people try to steal that before.
Mm-hmm. Not a lot of people steal Rook213.
No, that's not a common one. Especially adding numbers to it. It just doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had Snapchat for a while, and I had to use the real widget because someone was using the widget and widget.
That's funny.
Thanks so much for listening, everybody, and have a fantastic nerdy week.
Y'all stay nerdy now. You hear?